Hey,
Well,
hey.
we're hanging on, we're on the skin of our teeth, but we're doing it. Welcome
Oh
to
my
the
God.
quest for truth, for sure, with Corina Pataki, and I'm going to spow out. Corina, introduce the guest today, George, because it's going to be a great show. So let's
Yeah.
go.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, hello, everybody. So excited to have you here with us. Welcome to the Quest for Truth with your host, Corina Pataki. I'm so thrilled that all of you are here. For the ones that have jumped on, hey, everybody. Hey, Dots, you're so awesome. Um, Bojan, thank you guys. Thank you for all of you that have jumped in on our live stream. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. For the ones that are going to join in with us while our show is going to continue, I want to welcome you ahead of time. And for those of you that will rewatch this on our YouTube channel or the other platforms, welcome to all of you as well. I want to ask you guys that if you are enjoying the material that we bring, if you are being challenged by the truth that we bring, if you are awakening to the reality of who you truly are from within out, if this is what's happening to you as you watch our shows, would you please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel or our other platforms, liking and sharing our videos, especially the live ones? I would greatly appreciate it. So, you guys, I'm so excited for this incredible special guest that we have. Before I bring him in and give him a proper introduction, because he has an amazing bio, I would like to share with you a little bit of what I have on my heart for this very powerful episode that we are going to do. Now, in this thought provoking episode, you guys, I will be discussing with our very special guest the powerful subject of astrology and the signs of the time, as well as the hidden inversion of April the 1st, as unfortunately it's been dubbed April Fools, which is actually happening tomorrow. Now, our very special guest is going to bring a profound insight into how the celestial movements influence our reality, revealing knowledge that has long been obscured or dismissed as taboo, or for my beautiful Christian audience, as demonic. Now, I hope that through this conversation that we will be having, our perceived notions will be challenged and will be changed, helping us see the truth beyond the deception that we have been under, and for us to understand the deeper meaning, you guys, that's behind the cosmic alignments, from the planetary shifts to the astrological codes that are hidden. Now, our guest will uncover the wisdom that has been hidden in plain sight. So let's bring in George. And George, I'm so excited to have you with us. Oh my gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining with all of our beautiful audience. Thank you for being here. Oh, unmute yourself, George. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Ah,
I'm not.
awesome.
I'm
Awesome.
not very technical. So
Me
anyway,
neither. Trust me. Thank God for Karen. Me neither. Me neither.
it's lovely to be here with you
So
today.
nice to be here. Now, you guys, I want to give George a proper introduction because, oh my gosh, he is incredible. A being with so many powerful and important gifts that is here to help not only awaken humanity, not only bring disclosure, but also give and share with us the tools that he has discovered, that he in part shares with the rest of humanity, for whosoever chooses to not be afraid of the tools that are within us and at our hand and engage with it. So I want to give him a proper introduction. So, George H. Lewis is an artist, an astrologer, a healer, and a visionary dedicated to inspiring individuals to unlock their highest potential. Across the last 2 decades, George has studied archetypal astrology, Hellenistic astrology, tarot, and Palm Street under renowned mentors like Monty Taylor and Frank Andrews. His artistic and spiritual inclinations have taken him, listen, to Bhutan, where he painted the royal family of Bhutan. And during his time there, he collaborated with spiritual leaders and workers and worked with sound healing and vibrational therapists. George's cross cultural journey has profoundly shaped his ability to integrate Eastern and Western philosophy in his work. That's not it. That's not all. George was born and raised in England, and then he moved to Italy. He graduated with first class honors in politics and political philosophy from Padua University in Italy. He began his early career as a court painter to the Sultan of Oman, where he gained deep insight into the spiritual and symbolic dimensions of art. His time living with the Bedouin tribes in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Yemen, and Oman deepened his connections to the stars and 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 fired up his journey into astrology and esoteric traditions. Wow, wow, wow. Now I'm excited about this, George, also because George is currently working on a series of paintings of the tarot decks that merges unity consciousness with wisdom, reflecting a holistic integration of astrology, sacred geometry, alchemy, and fine arts. Now, he also has an academy that we will be asking him about in this incredible interview that I'm so thrilled to have with you, George. Again, welcome.
Well,
Wow.
I
What
mean,
about you?
it's very kind of you to give me that long introduction.
Well, you
But
deserve it.
Well, we are at such an interesting time in our civilization. And I think the thing is, we're all on a journey. Every single one of us has to, in our own unique way, release our attachments to our old stories, the past, who we thought we are through our own belief systems. Because when we can release ourselves, the ego, from our own belief systems, we find freedom.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, George, I had the honor and the privilege of meeting you at GSIC in Orlando with Danny Henderson. We love Danny. She's amazing. And that's where I had a chance to just briefly meet you. But I have been watching your interviews on different platforms, and I love what you have to bring, George. So let's just jump in and see. First of all, for our viewers, I know I have some Christian viewers as well that astrology, they don't really have an idea of what it is because it's been mixed with demonic, it's been mixed with worshiping.
Very
So
much.
please jump in and give us an understanding really what astrology is.
I mean, I want to say this straight off the bat as someone who's interested in truth, but I'm a serious amateur historian. And the Vatican has controlled the psychological narrative of Western civilization for nearly 2,000 years. And that is just a statement of fact. And the Vatican abolished and banned astrology for about 900 years of the age of Pisces, which we're emerging from now.
Mm-hmm.
And when one begins to see that the higher echelons of the Vatican, the higher echelons of the City of London, the higher echelons of Washington, D.C., which of course is no more, they have always used the language of astrology. It was the famous the stooge of Mr. Rothschild, J.P. Morgan, who coined the famous term we all use. Oh, no, millionaires never use astrology, but billionaires always do. Yeah. My humble job is to remind us, we the people, yes, us Christian folk who believe in the Christed light of ascension, divinity, of faith. We're a faith-based nation here in the United States. Don't get confused by my English accent. I'm an American patriot, an American citizen. I stand here on the brink of being part of this massive awakening coming out of the United States. It's based on faith. It's based on the Christed light. And astrology is a map. It's a roadmap. It allows us to get a better sense of who we are. Perhaps it reveals the sacred soul contract. It reveals some of the archetypal tendencies that we all have to understand our strengths and our weaknesses. It's how it's applied. So finally, I would say, let's take the knife or even the gun. The gun is a neutral instrument. It's down to its application. Do I use it to defend wife and family? Do I use it to find the venison, to put the food on the table? Or do I use it in a Saturnian, Satan-esque cult of demonic frequency? No. And so for me, it's about understanding that astrology is a language. Do I learn Italian? Do I learn astrology? It can open up as much as shut down. It's down to the application.
Yeah, that's so good that you're saying that, and I know to a lot of Christians that may be watching, like what you said, what the Vatican and the religious leaders that knew very well that through manipulation, control, and fear, they can do just that: control, manipulate, and put fear, and hold these truths in a box of don't touch because it's demonic, right? So with that in mind, for the Christian audience that's watching, I think where the mixture and the confusion and the fear also came, George, is where they thought that it means you're worshiping, you're bowing down to the stars and the planets. And I want to just jump in and say that is absolutely not what we're talking about here. And as a matter of fact, there are so many scriptures in the Bible that talk about the stars and the planets and the moon and the importance of them. I mean, there's so many. I took just the notes of a few of them. I could not even take all the notes of all of the scriptures that are in there. But for instance, we start with, let's see, Matthew chapter 2, verse 2, where this is what it says: "Where is the one who has been born king? We saw his star when it rose." Yes. Then you have Daniel chapter 12, verse 3, speaking of the symbolism of the stars connected to wisdom and knowledge. And it says, "And those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above and like the stars." Mm-hmm. And then, you have First Corinthians. Listen to this. New Testament, chapter 15, verse 41. "The sun has one kind of splendor or glory, and the moon another one. And the stars have another type of glory or splendor." Now, listen, I know, George, for a lot of probably Christians, what we've been taught is that the stars here refer to angels. But I want to assure you, my beautiful viewers, that the Hebraic root word here means heavenly bodies. Has nothing, it's not the same root word as for angels. So there are so many scriptures, you guys, here that talk about the stars and that talk about the celestial bodies as it relates to wisdom and knowledge and information. So George, you pick it up from here. There's so much that's happening right now. Go ahead.
So if we were to go back before the Industrial Revolution, so only 300 years ago, yes, most of us would have traveled. If it wasn't on land, it would have been via boat, via ship. Let's take the Mediterranean Sea. From where we all come, whether we come from England or Germany, the north of Europe, or many of us come from the Mediterranean basin and the cradle of really Western civilization, the word disaster comes from the Greek disastros. What does that mean? It means without stars. When we navigate at sea, even on land, I've lived in the desert, as you kindly mentioned, of Saudi Arabia and Oman. When we live without the ability to look up and to guide ourselves through the heavens, it's a disaster because we can't see. You see, the heavens are a map. This is the astronomy. And the astronomy tells you where everything is. But what does the astrology do? It tells you how you feel and how you relate. It's the left brain and the right brain. It's the polarity consciousness that Christ would have spoken about in different ways. He talks about the Son of Man. What actually is the sun? You all have a sun sign. I have a sun sign in Aries. You all have a sun sign somewhere. It's how you shine your light. So the question is, do we take on that Christed light? as a teacher, and we try and reflect it back so we can illuminate from within that beautiful frequency. People who illuminate from within, they live longer. They operate at a different frequency. This, in a way, is the upgrade that we're tapping into as we rediscover the hidden ancient memories under the pyramids, as we have disclosure about the galactics and our mutual friend, the wonderful Danny Henderson, and many others who are doing a formidable job in helping humans understand that it's a bigger picture than what we've been told. And this is where the Pluto in Aquarius, and yes, to many of your listeners, this is alien language, but Pluto is the planet of transformation, and Pluto now has arrived in Aquarius for the first time in 240 years, and the last time was the French Revolution. And here we have this, and the time before that was the discovery of Copernicus and the fact that we revolved around the sun rather than flat.
Yes.
And of course, there's, people believe in flat earth theory again. There's a lot of new disclosure coming out. The point is, we have to be open in our hearts, not so much in our minds, in our hearts, to receive new divine codes coming in. And when we can do that, it's very pure and very healing.
Yes, wow, that's so incredibly powerful. So what you're saying right now is, let's just jump on this. So with Pluto being the planet of transition and entering Aquarius, now you said that this occurred when? In 17?
So every 240 plus years, Pluto
Okay.
takes basically 248 years to do a solar return, which means we have 1 year, which is the sun going around 360 degrees. For Pluto to do 360 degrees, it takes 248 years. So we have these cycles. And when we have Pluto in Aquarius, it's new belief systems coming in. So we've just had Pluto in Capricorn. Isn't it interesting that the battle against the tyranny of Great Britain by what we called the patriots or the settlers, a Pluto cycle ago, happened with Pluto in Capricorn? We've just come out of the second Pluto we've just entered the second Pluto return of the United States birth chart, which means we've seen the collapse of the old system. We have a new administration, which is totally new. Yes, it started in 2016. But what Trump, and he's just the civilian face of something much, much bigger. It is galactic, it is civilizational. And America is leading the world in the rediscovery of consciousness, of the ability for humans to tap into a higher power from within and from without. This is the Christed light. And we are going to deepen our understanding of Christ as we journey through this decade. We really will. And I ask your listeners, as I ask myself, open the heart to it. Allow the guided, your term grace, to guide you through. You will suddenly discover things about yourself and others which will be really blissful. And it's not woo-woo. This is the real science of science and spirituality merging, not the fakery of control through religion, which we've all experienced in many ways. So the age of Aquarius, which we're entering now, and Pluto's just gone in there, is this openness to new belief systems, new understanding of our ontology, which is our study of being, our epistemology, who we are, what we thought, our true history, not the fake history written by the Vatican, who burnt the Library of Alexandria, then hid all the artifacts.
Wow, there's so much, George. I mean, my goodness gracious. Now, for those ones that this is so new to them, we've entered the age of Aquarius, right? So what does that mean, the shift from the old age into the age of Aquarius? And what does it mean for the nations? And what does it mean for individuals?
So I would say we mirror, the microcosm mirrors the macrocosm. It's the axiom of Hermes Trismegistus: as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. I am a microcosm of the macrocosm. We are a microcosm of the macrocosm. When we start to do that dance, we start to integrate the polarity consciousness and we start to heal profoundly. What does the age of Aquarius mean? Well, let me jump back a little bit to the age of Pisces.
Yes.
And this is to do with the precession of the equinox. This is what Plato called the great year. We have these cycles, if you like, clockwork, as far as our relationship with the stars. Now, this is astronomy. This isn't astrology. This is astronomy. Every cycle is around 2,000 plus, 2,200 years. The age of Pisces, the age of the fish, the fisher of man, Christ, that's been the Pisces age. And unfortunately, largely what's happened in the Piscean age, it's gone to a low frequency Pisces. What do I mean? We've been psychologically manipulated through distorted religions and confusion Pisces in order to be psychologically controlled. The word psyche in Greek means the soul. Psychology is actually the study of the soul. Now, in modern nonsense, universities, programmed universities, the program, the Board of Education seeks obviously to keep it to the mind. You keep us out of the soul, you keep us in the mind, we can be controlled. You know that, I know that. And we're coming out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So the high expression of Aquarius is the individual being celebrated, venerated, supported within a collective identity. With the low frequency, it's transhumanism, and we become robotic, and we become like almost communistic, and we become a narrowing of our soul. Our soul gets moved slowly into destruction, and we end up becoming some Homo Borg genetic species. And this is the battle of our civilization, the battle between divine intelligence, the Christed light on the one hand, and the artificial intelligence, Draco-reptilian grey on the other. This is the battle. And I behoove and encourage you all to be aware at the highest level, looking down on our planet. That is the debate. Let's not fight over the pettiness. You do you, I do me. But at the end of the day, we're here for the divine intelligence, the sacredness that is the body temple, in order to connect through the Kundalini. Yes, the Christed Christum that comes up the spine and connects to the divine source.
Wow. You're so right, because I get so aggravated when I see either in the Christian arena or the awakening arena, whatever you want to call it, this division that comes from petty stuff, petty things. When, like you said, let's look from above down and see what the big picture is. What do we need to unite in, and what are we here actually to do? So I love that. Now, as you said, we came out of the Pisces and into the Aquarius. So what does that mean for the collective? What does that mean for our planet, for the awakening of humanity and the victory on this planet against the, powers that...
I mean, it's kind of prophesied. I mean, at the end of the day, here I am going to sound pretty Christian. There is a major part of prophecy that we're involved in now in the United States. The United States is a prophetic country. I mean, I have goosebumps when I say this. And again, I speak with this very strange accent, don't I? Coming from the motherland of England. And that's part of the corruption. I mean, we can get into the dates if you want of 1871 and the turning of the United States into a corporation by the European London-based Rothschild syndicates. If we want to get into that, we can. And we can understand the sinking of the Titanic in 1912 and what happened straight after the sinking of the Titanic with the introduction of the Third Federal Reserve. I mean, and who was on the Titanic? Mr. Astor, Mr. Strauss, Mr. Guggenheim. Who were they? Well, they didn't want a central banking system. They wanted America to be independent from Europe and the rest of the world. Okay, well, we've got to wake up here, and we've got to do some proper history. And so what? And isn't it interesting that Mr. Trump has had in the 2016 first administration Mr. Andrew Jackson hanging in the Oval Office? Who is he? What did he do? He took down the second Federal Reserve, the second corporate banking system. And what is Trump doing? And okay, of course, he's a civilian face of a much bigger operation, in my mind, as is Mr. Musk. And, we have agents and double agents. This is the art of war by Sun Tzu. Yes, there's a lot going on here. We have to also trust. This is prophetic. The United States is part of ushering in 1,000 years plus of peace. Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay, guys, please share this video, like it, share it. This is very, very, very powerful information that is needed for such a time as this. George, oh my gosh, I love it. Just flow with it. So what does it mean, especially now with Pluto as it entered? What does it look like? Because I know there's so much fear out there. There is so much fear. People looking at, threats of World War III, threats of what's happening in Ukraine.
The deep state, they've tried it for years. Hillary never wrote a failure speech. I mean, listen, let's talk about the quantum field. Let's talk about Project Looking Glass, time travel. Yes, the deep state have had access to these mega computers. I understand one is in Britain, one is America, the other one, I can't remember where it is. They have to be cooled. They can only look 6 months to 2 years ahead. The good guys have got some amazing technology, I understand. Perhaps it's Palladian. You'll have to defer to Danny and her team. You know, I'm just an earthling here at this stage, even though I may have memory of other things. At the end of the day, you know, we're dealing with a technology that's going to support we the people. Now, listen, we've had artificial intelligence, which has been part of a death cult algorithm for the last 100+ years. This shift is starting to happen. The AI is going to be fine-tuned to support we the people, to support the biological divine codes that are us. Yes, we've got some cleaning up to do, and I mean major cleaning up to do, inside and out. Understanding parasites, and I'm not just talking physical one. I'm talking parasites on the air level, the intellectual, the spirit side, fire, and the emotional waters, the 4 elements, and including plasma and ether. We're going to have some serious cleaning out to do, detoxification, to understand what the protocol of the mRNA vaccines was, and the total hybridization desire of humanity towards a transhuman species. Absolutely, that's part of it. That's part of what perhaps Satan and AI is. You know, let's wake up and smell the coffee, or my language, let's wake up and have a cup of tea. You know, I mean, it's a really exciting time, and the United States is playing a part. Do you really think England and Europe actually is leading the philosophical debate? Of course not. They haven't got a clue. Yeah. And their job is to do their journey work, and to understand that, you know, we've really got to lean into faith again, and to our individual divine connection. And this is the age of Aquarius. Yes. Is reconnecting to the divine source. And there will be disclosure. We will start learning about other species, whether it's on the other side of the wall of Antarctica, or up down there, the ant people, or the Palladians here, and obviously understanding the Draco-Reptilian Anunnaki conversation with the Greys. If we can be open to it and not be fearful, read my energy. This is an exciting time, and we're doing it together. I have you, your audience. And I'm a kid here. I don't come here as an expert. No. I'm just George here as a human being, doing a little bit of work, understanding and showing that I can shine my light like you. And do I find life difficult? Absolutely. Do I get sad and grief-stricken? Absolutely. Have I got my sob story? Absolutely. But my gosh, I'm here for the journey. It's not even a fight. It's an expansion of consciousness to a higher realm. Welcome to the age of Aquarius. We're in it together.
Wow. I love it. Oh my gosh. So what you said, and you guys, I want to kind of reiterate and put a pause and a big microphone over the word that George said, which is not be in fear. Not be in fear. You were talking about the quantum physics, the quantum world, the quantum realm, because you guys, the moment we are in fear, we are creating the reality that the evil ones want us to create, because they know we have power in us to create. We are creators. Let me say it again, we are creators. It takes an observer. This is what quantum physics says, not Corina. It's not woo-woo. It takes an observer to create a reality. So therefore, when you look at something with fear, you engage that creative power of fear. They're sitting back laughing because we have created what they wanted us to create. So George, talk about this? Talk about people not being.
Can I make you all feel very excited?
Yes, like please.
I kind of channel sometimes the inner child here. I'm an Aries after all. I'm the baby of the zodiac. And I'm okay being seen perhaps as naive, but certainly as someone who has great faith, and who really also I'm a symbologist. So I find it very interesting. I'm not going to go too much into detail now because it's a long one. But if you look at President Trump's chart, Venus is what we love. His Venus is right over. It's in Cancer, which is the sun sign of the natal chart of the United States. And his Venus is right over the Sun and Mercury of the United States. Donald Trump was born in June 14th, 1946. The United States military was founded on June 14th, 1775. The United States original flag was formed on June 14th, 1777. Donald Trump's numbers in gematria are 777. That's not accident. Now, whether he's aware of it or not is irrelevant. And whether I'm aware, or Corina's aware, or any of you are aware of your soul contract, your higher self, doing what it's meant to be doing to play it out, that's of other conversation. There are larger forces at play here. There are deeply mystical. This is a key word for us Christians. We've got to get a little bit further away from the doctrinal and tap into the mystical. Christ was a mystic.
Yes.
He was not the Pharisees' priest.
Yeah,
I
that's
want you to open up your mystical side and go, wow.
come on.
Let's do it together. Wow. I'll repeat that. Donald Trump born June 14th, 1946. United States original military founded June 14th, 1775. United States original flag before the US corporation corrupted it with the gold round it was formed in June 14th, 1776. You know, the District of Columbia is now the District of America. You see, you can charge criminals now. You've changed the jurisdiction. This is much bigger, boys and girls, and I'm excited. Don't be too Saturnian, which is fear.
Yeah.
Get into Jupiter, expansion. Use the archetypes. Start playing. Start being creative. Christ will contact you more directly through the dreams and otherwise.
Wow, 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 wow. George, this is incredible. I'm absolutely loving this. Are you guys enjoying this? This is so good. I feel so fired up. I feel the fire that's coming from you of truth and of passion of
Thank you.
just to release that truth out here. Okay, so George, I'm gonna throw maybe a curveball here because I'm very interested in knowing, and I know my Romanian audience from around the world that is watching now and will be watching is very interested. Just to kind of bring you in, I'm not sure if you know, but there were supposed to be the elections in Romania, June the 8th. The people chose. He's very much like a copy of Trump, very interesting, an awakened light worker. Romania has never had anything like that. People spoke it, they chose it. The powers that control that nation said no, and voting was canceled.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
what do you feel or see from the movement of the planetary bodies? Is there anything that
Well, two things. If I can, and I'm no expert on beautiful Romania, I'd love to go there. I know the land is deeply sacred, deeply fecund, which is fertile. The farming homestead culture is going to help lead Europe to reconnect.
Yeah.
The Romanians are going to have to sit tight because at the end of the day, the world is watching, and we have Maloney in Italy. I mean, Britain and France have basically fallen at the current timeline. It's going to come round.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump and the White Hats are waiting for a better administration. But let's be clear, what's going on? This is an awakening of we the people. This is no longer about elites taking control and one elite being replaced by another elite. No, this is about you and me stepping into the Christed light and running our own homestead. This isn't kibbutz style. Oh no. This is you, sovereign of your land. Thank you, America. Thank you, United States. Thank you, promised land.
Yeah.
Thank you, prophecy. You know, this is radical self-sovereignty. And the Reagans and Thatchers of yesteryear were trying, but they didn't have the power, and they both had assassination attempts. You know it, I know it. Here we are this time round, and it's been tough, but we're here. Trump is leading the world. And actually, I may be sounding controversial, is also leading the world with Russia. And I'm sorry if that's going to trigger some of you, but
Oh, come on.
no, but I want to get to Romania because
Yeah.
it's Europe and it's connected. Romanians, just stay tight. Keep doing what you're doing. The light will come through because what's happening is always the most dangerous at the last gasp of the dying order. We've all read King Lear. We know the history. We are seeing the dying gasps of a very dark Saturnian, Saturnine, Satan regime where we were on the brink of total global communism.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, you know, here we are, and it has to play out. It's done in my mind. It's done, but we, the people, have to awaken to this truth. We have to have deep faith. We cannot know everything. Do I look at you in the eye and say, I know any more than you? No, I don't, actually. I don't. And there's freedom in that.
Yeah.
I'm very human in this body right now.
Yeah.
I don't have the intel, but I'm using my divine intelligence and my intuition. I behoove you, we Christians, to get back into the intuitive body, clean the body, get the glyphosate out. And this is why, Mr. Kennedy, let's not get caught up in all the saga. We don't know. Let's make America and the world healthy again. Let's get the glyphosate out. Let's get the chlorine out of the water. Let's get the fluoride out of the toothpaste and everything. Because then we have a chance to clean the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. Then we have a chance to have the reconnection to God's source creator.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow. So, all my beautiful Romanian audience from the States, from Romania, from around the world, again, have faith, have faith, have faith. As I said, I've been saying it for quite a few months. Victory is coming. I don't know how, I don't know when, but the light will have the final word, not the darkness, not the deep state, not the dark, whatever they're called. They are not having the final word. We, the people, unite in love, unite in faith, and know that victory is coming. So thank you for that, George.
And
Thank
pray and hold the light.
Yes.
Shut your eyes. Go into the middle eye, the pineal gland. Go into how you connect to source, to the Godhead, to Christ. You know, whatever the language is, let's not get caught up in the language. It is Pluto and Aquarius. We've really got to tap in, and what we see, we visualize the new earth. It's coming. We're all on the land. We're growing our crops. The water is pure. Our temple is purified for the first time in actually memory. We have amnesia as a species. We don't remember because of the great floods and the destruction of Tartary. I'm not going to get into that. We don't have proper memory of being clean. It's coming.
Yeah. George, you touched on something, and I would like for you to expand on it, because I know the power of visualization or imagination. I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about the visualization, seeing things by faith, creating that reality. Can you expand on that? Because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, I'm just imagining it. This is not real. Or I'm not going to waste my time doing it because it's not real. Can you expand on the importance of visualization, especially when you meditate, when you pray?
Well, see, time is an artifice. Saturn, in Greek, chronos, chronotic. The word chronology comes from chronos, Saturn, the lord of time, the lord of darkness. Time is a construct. None of us can go back to the past. There's no such thing as the past. It's a construct. There's no such thing as the future. It's constantly present, present, present. I can't go to the future. Forget time travel for a moment. I can't go to the future in this body. I can't go to the past. When we can visualize us in the future with the people we love around us, through joy, through beauty, through heart connection, the more we do that, the more that becomes our reality, because we shift the consciousness. It's what the Schumann resonance is about. When we shift the consciousness of ourselves, we shift the consciousness of our planet. And when, literally 5 or more people pray together, my gosh, it's powerful. It's why the deep state doesn't want people praying outside abortion clinics. It's why they ban that in Britain. Yes.
Wow, 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 wow. So there's power then, George, not only in our words, there's power in our visualization, coupling that with words, with the frequencies, because words are frequencies, right? So talk about that, please.
So, in some ways, for me, the word logos, if you go back to the Greek, they interpret it as the word. In the beginning was the word. To me, in the beginning was the frequency. In the beginning was the sound. And I'm a sound therapist. I love sound. I work with much musical instruments, crystals and stuff, and it helps tune it. Tesla knew this. And of course, Reich discovered and built upon this, that all disease can be healed through frequency. You only have to look at the cymatics. And when you, when we go to India, and we go to see the ancient temples, and the temples are built in a certain way. That's a cymatic structure to create a core note of the scale. And when you vibrate that, or you tone in that, the water bubbles up and you heal. The cathedrals of yesteryear, if you go to Chartres Cathedral, the large rose windows, they all carry a specific frequency. We're rediscovering this, all of us, me. I knew none of this 10 years ago, and yet it's like a remembrance. And I'm no different from all of us. We're remembering. Let us bring in the kid in the sweet shop, or in the candy store, as you'd say. Allow the joy and the curiosity. You see, part of happiness, if you interpret the Greek word eudaimonia correctly, eudaimonia means to flourish. Why do we flourish as humans? When we're in our creative joy.
Yeah, so good. George, let's continue on this, the frequency and the sacred geometry, all of that, as it relates to healing, because I know we have people watching that may be dealing with a lot of different elements, and the C word is a big one. It's a big thing that kind of just is taking the world by storm. How do people apply what you're talking about to seeing the manifestation of the healing in their body, especially against the C word?
Yeah. So the easiest thing for us all to do, go and buy yourself. They don't have to be that expensive. Start with any type of crystal bowl or Tibetan bowl,
Okay.
and just put some water in it. Try and get water from the stream, something fresh, not ideally chlorinated water. I mean, you can do that and you will purify it to an extent, but try and start with some fresh water. And when you hit the bowl and you strike it or you vibrate it, it will make a cymatic pattern on there depending on the note, and it will froth up. I mean, next time I could give you a demonstration with my bowls.
Yes,
We just
yes.
didn't plan that today. And if you were to drink that water, which I do regularly, literally the frequency is so pure, it makes you lighter. It tastes even sweeter. It's an energetic sweetness. It's not a saccharine glucose sweetness. It's an energy sweet. It's almost got a Christed sweetness to it, because everything is water. Everything. We are 98% water on a molecular level. Yes, on a physical, we could be 70. But it's like, there is so much information coming out, and I am certainly not an expert. I'm a bit of a polymath. I do multiple things, but I'm more of a communicator. And I mean, I do sound therapy because I'm very intuitive, and I love putting crystal bowls and tuning forks on the ear. If you start getting a tuning fork or a bowl and playing with it, and getting your partner or your son or your father, put it on your chest if you've got some heartache, and you bang it, and you take in that, imbibe that vibration, it will open up your spine, it will heal you, and you'll start your journey. And then there's much more, of course.
Wow, George, this is really, really, really amazing. So needed. So, wow, we can go in so many directions.
And food. And here's the thing is,
Go ahead.
a lot of it's about food. And of course, none of us, this is why I'm very compassionate to Americans, because Americans have been deliberately targeted. I mean, I could go into a 10, 20-minute diatribe now. I'll just be very succinct. The plan since the way before, but since the Second World War with the agricultural business has been basically to destroy the American. And you take America, the United States down, you can create New World Order. And that's been the agenda. And it went into overdrive after the assassination of Kennedy. And then, of course, with George H. Bush taking over after the Reagan shot, he really ran the administration, much like Cheney did under Bush Jr. You really start to see things go in overdrive. We are reversing that in an absolutely monumental way, but we have to be compassionate about Americans and their food. We have to have a total re-education of food, because without understanding what we imbibe, food and water, we can't get there. The body is a temple. We need to purify it. We're going to spend the next decade learning about how to purify our bodies. It's going to be very exciting, but get into the garden, get your hands dirty in the soil, plant some crops. We're coming into spring in the Northern Hemisphere here in our beloved country, the United States. I'm down in Virginia right now. The sun is out, the blossom's coming. Try and plant something, and try and go to a local well to find some water. Please don't drink the water from the mains. It's going to change, but we're not there yet. You're going to see a big shift in your consciousness if you start to eat well and drink well.
Wow, which is so important, because again, our body's the temple. So important. And it makes sense why they would try to fill it up with poisonous crap, because it is a temple. It's the vehicle by which we engage in this reality. So absolutely. Now, George, for people that are interested to kind of understand how the planetary shifts or the movements affect them, their personal life, what do you have to share with that regarding?
I mean, it's very interesting. Of course, astrology is complex because it's a language. But let's take today. It's actually quite nice that I'm chatting with you today, because right today, Neptune, the planet of inspiration, has moved into Aries for the first time in 160 plus years. Now, what's interesting about Neptune, the last time Neptune moved into Aries was the beginning of the American Civil War. But the planets looked very different then as far as the angles. And everything is math. And Tesla just knew this. If you understand 369, you understand the secrets of the universe. Everything is about what's called the music of the spheres, the harmonics. And this time we have some what's called trine energy and beautiful sextiles. Without getting too technical, this civil war is not happening this time round. Now, we're going to have some radicals, some Antifa nonsense, some poor things, totally brainwashed liberals who all were buying crazy Tesla cars and now they're destroying them. This is a small percentage. And yes, the deep state under the Soroses have funded a lot of people to go in and create more protests. Just stay the observer and do you. But the astrology here is interesting because we're in what's called Aries season. And when the sun, we just had a partial solar eclipse in Aries. That means the sun and the moon come together in a new moon in Aries. And what this really means is it's about your sovereignty. How do you step into your self-mastery? How do you say, I'm doing me, and let other people do you, not in a selfish way, but you've got to follow your heart. You've got to follow your path of what you need to do. It's like the oxygen mask on the plane. You can't serve anyone until you put that oxygen mask on yourself. So the Aries energy really asks us to step into the radical self-mastery, independence, curiosity, bravery, and you will be supported. The more you align yourself with your soul contract, that is the astrology, you will begin to see self-mastery play in, and you'll see connections work, and the soul family is expanded, much like you and I, Corina. We just met once through the wonderful Danny, and here we are. You invited me on your show. I get to chat to some of you beautiful people, and so the family grows. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Wow. So remarkable. I mean, George, I would love to have you back many times because you have so much wisdom that you're sharing that I know it's benefiting and it's reverberating with our viewers. So now, because we are entering tomorrow, April the 1st, right? And it's unfortunately been called April Fool's.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah, April Fool's Day. George, I know that that's not its original name, and every time something is slapped with a negative feel to it, I know that there is a beautiful original purpose of light in it. So explain to us what is the original mandate, if you will, of April the 1st.
You see, what's complicated about it is the inversions that have happened on the way, because originally, the original meaning of April Fools was surrounding the story of the old Gnostic pagan celebrations and Christ being crucified. So, for example, originally, April 1, there were some cults around that time that were celebrated, which were Roman Saturnalia cults and Druidic, pertaining to the Druids and rites. And of course, with those older religions, they were used for good or for bad, depending on the frequency. And this is something which I want us all to understand. As Christians, the Vatican Church and the authority of the Church of England with the royal family and who's controlled that haven't had we the people in their heart. They just haven't. That's truth. Much like, before Christianity, the Druidic rites would have been using what's called white magic or black magic. White magic to me is Christ magic, and black magic is demonic magic. Right. Once we as a species can really imbibe that truth, then Houston, we have liftoff. So the April Fool's Day was inverted because, you see, when Rome converted to Christianity with the Treaty of Nicaea on the deathbed of Emperor Constantine in the early 300s Common Era, the church used a big power grab, and the church was formed, and it was a continuation of Pontifex Maximus, a continuation of the Roman Empire. Yes, this was, okay? And so we're going to have a big relearning of history. And I'm learning, and next time I come on, I'll have learned something new and I'll be able to share it with you. I come to this very humbly as a very curious amateur student. And I love history. I always was quite good at history, but I always want the real history. So I think to answer your question with April Fools, is what's more interesting to us, the people, is with Q. And Q is military intelligence. Q, or as the public know it as QAnon, it's not quite true, because you've got Q, which is military intelligence on the 3D level, and time travel on the 5D level. Yes, Project Looking Glass. On the more Tom, Dick, and Harry level, we hear it because of the legacy media as QAnon. Well, isn't it interesting that Mr. Trump, President Trump, is bringing in the tariffs and the new change in our system on April 2nd? He's cancelling out the manipulation of April 1st. And what I've learned is a lot of these old holidays have been used in a very corrupt fashion, especially October 31st and Halloween. And we have to bring these ancient, almost venal equinox, because really what it is, April 1 is the venal equinox, it's the spring equinox. Then we have the summer solstice, then we have the autumnal equinox or the winter solstice. These are grids on our ley lines on our beautiful planet. We have to reactivate them, relearn them, and replenish them with light, with Christed light, which is what you're all going to do and what we're trying to do. That's really what I think it's about. So we suddenly have April the 2nd, and symbolism will be their downfall, one of the great sayings of the Q. They're throwing it back. Another thing I'll share with you, just so many of you may not know, isn't it interesting that we're talking about Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency? Well, who were the original Doges? The original Doges were the maritime kings and kings of the Venetian Empire, the Phoenician Empire. And that's where maritime law comes from. And so this is the white hats throwing back in their face Doge, throwing symbolism at them, which what they've done to us for hundreds of years, and now we're getting catch up again.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You guys get your questions ready. We're Karen, how long do we have? I'm so sorry. I'm so intrigued by this incredible interview here that I forgot to mention. Get your questions ready so we can kind of ask George, but oh my gosh. Okay, George. I want to shift a little bit and talk about tarot, because you are creating a beautiful deck. I'm not sure if it's done already. And Christians are freaking out about things like tarot because, again, we're giving it all to the dark side. But to me, it's a tool. It's a tool. Depending on how you use it, again, like the gun, like the knife, it's a tool. So, George, because you're creating one, tell us about it.
I mean, I've only painted a few of the cards yet. Next time I can maybe share a few with you.
Yes.
There are archetypes. So an archetype is, in a way, a picture of a way of us being. So let's take, we're in Aries season. The Aries correspondence is the Emperor card. So I ask all of you, if the Emperor card were to come up in a reading, are you stepping into your Emperor as far as self-sovereignty? How are you embodying the Emperor for self-sovereignty? Or are you doing it negatively as a cruel Emperor to dominate and to be cruel in many ways, whether that's physical cruelty, emotional, or otherwise, intellectual, spiritual? So again, it's like as Corina has just said, it's to do with the knife. It's actually down to the application. And so what's nice about the tarot is these are visual images, and some people are more visual. The astrology is a little bit more Saturnian, actually. It's a bit more left brain, because it's dealing with just symbols, and they're, on their own, they can be a bit cold and they can be a bit strange. Now, the pictures are what's interesting, because it depends on the artist who's painted the tarot card. And I'm very fascinated by this, because you may have heard of a man called Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley came out of the Golden Dawn and Madame Blavatsky. And there's much speculation that Aleister Crowley had a child, and that's Barbara Bush. Now, that's much speculation. But, I don't know. And I'm not certainly going to pass judgment. Right. If you start to look at images, it's quite interesting. The point is, there's much stuff starting to come out. And the tarot is just a pictorial way for you to explore yourself and your journey. If the negative could be, you start to only consult the tarot for anything you do, rather than living freely. Do you know, I haven't done a tarot reading on myself for years. And I just like them because they're pictorial narratives. I'm able to look at them and get some divine connection through source, through God, which can help people understand their journey. If we're using it as a vehicle, as a language to expand our consciousness, to open up the potential, as where people may have suicidal tendencies or have some emotional issue, the tarot and the astrology or the numerology or some sound healing, they're just different vehicles to expand consciousness. At the same time, some people use them very badly. You must be discerning on the energy of the person who's doing it. That's all I ask.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, I never realized this because I never even touched them until about a few months. I've kind of studied them and looked at them. There's a whole bunch of biblical symbolism. The Torah's in there. Lion, eagle, ox, men is in there for my beautiful Christian audience. a whole bunch of stuff from the book of Revelation. You have, I mean, it's there's a
100%.
lot of there's a lot of Torah
Yes, there is.
in inside the tarot, which
Yeah.
I never knew.
I mean, it's interesting, the Jewish Torah, and of course there is much speculation, and I subscribe to this, that the tree of life is much older than Judaism.
Oh
And
yeah,
it goes back to Atlantis. And I'm not going
right.
to get into that now, because that's another conversation. And maybe, you should be talking to Danny or others on that. But I think the thing is, the Torah is replete with symbolism of Christian iconography, of
Correct.
Jewish iconography, of ancient iconography, even certain even Hindu or Eastern things can come in to an extent. We're dealing with ancient symbols which carry frequency.
Correct.
And when that frequency is understood and then used correctly, it goes towards the source of God. When it's used incorrectly, it goes the other way. In that sense, it's that simple. And I will finally say that the tarot deck that I like the most is the most widely used one. It's the Rider-Waite deck.
Yes, right.
Because it's the classic deck. It carries a really nice neutral energy for you to do good work with. Where for me personally, the tarot deck that is created by Aleister Crowley, I have it. I have never done a reading with it. And I don't expect to ever do a reading with it. I'm just going to leave it at that. I do find it very beautiful, but I think it keeps me in the lower 3 chakras.
Yeah, very, very. I had a suggestion for my incredible producer, Karen. She said that we should do a show on tarot and bring, dive deep into the history of it, and then kind of show your cards, whatever you've been working on. Because what I'm trying to do, George, is take away the fear related to so many subjects that are available, or tools or archetypes that Christianity has, like, demonized it.
So I have almost like a feeling to share with your listeners. I want to look you in the eye and say, please step into your inner authority. The Republic needs you more than ever at this time to be a man or woman of faith,
Yes, come on.
hope, of passion, and of creativity. And when you can do that and put aside the belief systems that we've all had, trust me, I'm the poster boy of propagandaed education. Oh, yes, I went to a very posh school in England and I was deeply brainwashed. We have to put it aside and we have to go on our intuition and our divine intelligence. That's what Christ would want us to do if he were here today. Christ is in you.
Absolutely.
That's the real message, because Christ was preaching that as a mystic then.
Yes, absolutely. That's so powerful. Stop allowing outside sources and voices to control the power that you have from within. Like George said, Christ is within us. Remember, you guys, what did Jesus say? That the kingdom is inside of you, meaning the infinite, abundant fullness, the boundless power. All of that is inside of each and every single one of us. And we have given our power and our authority over to a man or a woman or a government, when in actuality, the power is within. That's how they've controlled us, because we have given away our power. And like George said, it is high time, you guys, that we take that power back and we utilize it in love, in the highest energy source that creates, which is love. So that is so, so good. Now, George, before we jump in, we have some questions really fast. I would like for you to share a little bit about your academy, because it's fascinating. What is it?
Well, at the moment, it's only under a year old, but I've set it up with a dear friend, Brian D'Alessandro, and we're teaching astrology, basic astrology and also advanced astrology, all the different types. And we're teaching tarot. I'm teaching alchemy as well. So teaching people how to step in and unlock their inner wisdom. And you see, the natal chart is so powerful, because once you understand your strengths and weaknesses, then you're able to say, okay, I need to work on this. I need to work on that. I'm more self-sovereign. And then I may be attracted to this person as opposed to that person. And of course, it doesn't mean you see, astrology is they're archetypes. It's not stopping you do anything. It's just giving you a greater sense of who you are and what your inner strengths are. I think it connects you to your soul contract. And then we have the free freedom, don't we? We have the freedom to express it or to reject it. We do come to this planet ideally to experience many things and to have choice. So even if someone's soul contract, for me, I can see it, it can play out in multiple ways because that's their freedom to choose how to express it. And we all have our life lessons on the way. And then eventually I'll be having other people on the academy and teaching many other courses, but also having many other great luminaries to teach and share their wisdoms as well.
Yeah, this is remarkable, remarkable. I love what you do, George. I love our conversation. Okay,
I'm loving it too.
this is
You've got such beautiful energy, and you're a
thank
force
you.
for light. You see, you're an amazing bridge. You see, you care so much about your people, but you want to see the progress. Now, if I can, you've just made me
Yes,
think of something.
go for it.
Let's take the analogy of the Panama Canal.
Yes.
And we have to get a boat from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Now, to get it from the Atlantic to the Pacific, we have to go through these locks, up, down, 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 in order to move into Christ consciousness, into the new world. I believe Trump and the team are basically helping us through this awakening, and we're going through all these steps in order to get to the new earth. And I'm going through every lock like anyone else, and I'm just sharing with you that it's actually very exciting. We are shifting out of a very dark, controlled, we have no concept of just how manipulated we've all been. And we're slowly moving into something way more sovereign. And so embrace it. You have to deepen the breath. The North Node has been in Aries. Sovereignty comes out of the parasympathetic, opening the chest up. One of the great breath movements for me, exercises, is you breathe in for 5, you hold for 5, you release out through the mouth slowly for 5, and you hold for 5. The holding for 5 when you're empty is the hardest, and then you repeat the cycle. Eventually, you want to get to 7, 7, 7, 7. That will totally change the constitution of your blood and how you feel. You'll be less in fight and flight. You'll be more connected to source.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Okay, questions. Karen, put up the Okay, so I heard that the first part of going into the Pisces is going to be rough for a year and a half, and then better for the year and a half. Is that true?
Well, when we say the first part of going into the Pisces, I think what this lovely lady Rose means is going to the age of Aquarius, unless she's talking about the fact we've still got these planets in Pisces. I think what you're talking about, 2025 is definitely a big year of shifts and completions. In numerology, it's a 9, 2 plus 2, 2025 is a 9. And so what that's doing is we're really completing the old to start something new. And Trump's already highlighted this by saying there's going to be this holiday between Labor Day this year and July 4th, 2026. And what I sense is going to happen, we're clearing up all the old, we're deprogramming ourselves, and we're going to be going into this totally new republic, which we're already birthing. We're just right at the beginning. Remember, a Pluto cycle ago, when the Constitution was signed in 1776, it took many years for it to be embodied and played out and anchored in. And then, of course, we had, those wars still with the British and the French and the Indians. And it was complicated for it to settle. And so here we are, we're going to go way faster. This is warp speed, but we've got a few years to anchor in the Second Republic. That's what's playing out. And the more we go to the spirit world, the more we connect up to the divine intelligence that's innately in us, as above, so below, and up there, the more we can speed up that process and America can shine once again.
Wow. Okay, it says 2025 is a 9-year, the ending of a lot of things.
I just commented on that, didn't I? That's exactly right. So we really are. So let's lean into that. We're moving on, saying goodbye to who we were. Who was George yesterday? It's not who I am now. Embrace it. It's actually great relief when we can put our own old belief systems to bed. It doesn't mean we shift standards. We have good Saturn. We have good boundaries. We actually end up having better boundaries, and we know what we stand for. You're on that mission. I'm on this mission. Corina's on that mission. But we don't get caught up in trying to persuade someone to be like ourselves. That's why I teach the archetypes. Aries is going to do it one way, Pisces another way. And of course, it's very complex, the astrology, but we have to learn the archetypes. And that's how we learn to love. And I see that you do it your way, I do it my way, and we're all journeying together. And a civilization is based on that diversity of opinion, not the fake diversity of
Yeah.
criminal syndicate that is the world. That was once going to be the new world order. No, it's diversity of opinion, because it's that kaleidoscope, that beautiful smorgasbord of opinions that makes up the beauty that is human life on this planet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Dots has a question. Can you explain the difference between earthing for men and women?
Yeah, I mean, so what I understand is the toroidal field from the heart goes in one way for a woman and another way for a man. I can't actually remember which way, whether it's clockwise for a man and counterclockwise for a woman. The point is, it's polarity consciousness. The male and the female do this dance. It's Mars, Venus, it's yin, it's yang, it's masculine, feminine. So the point is, barefoot on the ground for all of us. Get your feet on the ground. Get your eyes, no sunglasses, in that sun, in the morning and the evening, not in the middle of a day. You'll burn your eyes unless you're a Tibetan monk and you're well practiced at sun gazing. Get the palms in the sun, and get that vitamin D activated. With barefoot on the ground, you are going to start to feel way more embodied, way more sovereign, way more active, potentially way more sexy, because your body is being embodied again. It's no longer dormant. The sun is the major part. Look, it's a big conversation, this, with the ancient Egyptians. What is Christ? It's really pure sunlight. In some ways, pure sunlight is the divine consciousness in yourself. And when it's activated at that higher level, it is profoundly healing. Let's bring the light into our heart, the toroidal field, and let it emanate outwards. As we allow it to be immanent, it becomes eminent.
Wow.
Immanence, eminence.
Yeah. From within out. Wow. Okay, there's another question.
Yes.
Which is the connection between regressive AI and Lil Satan? Okay, thank you for a great chat.
Yes, so it's an interesting one with the Anunnaki, and of course, maybe you need to get some of the galactic specialists like Collier or others in to talk about this, or obviously Lena Danan and others. I mean, from what I understand, and is you see, Enki is the Promethean. The archetype of Prometheus in the language that I speak is giving fire to humankind. Now, I definitely feel humans were subjugated and have been controlled in many different systems. And I think it goes back to the Anunnaki, as well as who Draco-Reptilian and Greys as well. But I think Enki was trying to give us the fire to become more self-sovereign. Enlil was trying to control us. From what I understand, I'm sure some of you guys will correct me. But the point is, it's the Promethean archetype of how can we use that fire that I've just described to empower us, not to dominate, but to become self-masterful in order to love and to heal, to help the family, to expand the community. What were those ancient pyramids for? And I wrote this book 7-8 years ago called The Boy and the Boy King. It was a children's book written for adults. And I already had the drawings of the big energy coming out of the pyramids, because I knew that they were energy healing systems. And when they were programmed correctly, to answer the last part about AI, when the AI is used correctly and abundantly and with consciousness, it is masterful in helping us heal. Then we can get on and be conscious human beings and love, and not have to pay the mortgage and get the work done. And we can actually explore multiple other things. We're going to come into that world soon. It's coming.
Yeah.
The negative AI is the cult of the death, and it wants to suppress us and control us and turn us into robots. That's called transhumanism. And that's part of the schism in our civilization, with mRNA on the one hand and the divine consciousness on the other. The ones who have chosen not to be vaccinated, they have chosen a different path to the ones who have. But my job is to help the ones who have regret now. And there are plenty of ways to get the total spike protein out, and to reverse any of that homoborg genetic protocols which were taking us in one direction. That is being pulled back. This is the Great Awakening. We can save everyone.
Oh,
I mean, meaning we can really help the vast majority of this planet. Everyone's got a different path, and there are certain people who do not want to take that path. They take the trans.
Yeah, it's their choice. Absolutely. Okay, there's another question. We know that there's a prophecy of many seers, such as Nostradamus, and they all agree on an agenda or future. Maybe this future is not what is prophesied, because I think Nostradamus had some very negative things that he foresaw.
I mean, it's so interesting with you, Corina, because the fact that you've invited me on, this is a meeting of the souls, because we've never discussed this, you and I.
No.
I was very obsessed as a 14-year-old boy. I read French back then. I read the quatrains of
Wow.
Nostradamus, and I tried and made sense. Of course, I have my dictionary and trying to make sense of it. Nostradamus perhaps was a deep state agent back then. He wanted to show the intent. It's a bit like the maybe the elders of. I'm not going to get into the actual textbook here, but there were certain textbooks written in the 1880s which prophesied and predicted the First World War, Second World War, Third World War, and they've had it played out. So it's predictive programming. For me, Nostradamus was part of the predictive programming. So it's not to say he wasn't brilliant, but I think he was part of that. You see, for me, it's freedom, and we take the power back into our own, and we self-manifest through self-mastery, and we can create an abundance on this planet, which is then much closer to Palladian civilizations or other types of higher frequency Andromedan civilizations. We're going to join the galactic family for the first time in recorded history, or since the fall of Atlantis, perhaps, or Tartary.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That explains a lot, because you're so right. For me, in modern day, what I kind of equivalate what Nostradamus did back then is there's so many prophets, Christian prophets, and especially in the Romanian arena, and they all prophesied doom and gloom. I mean, it's all about fear, bloodshed, death coming. And what does that do for a listener that does not really know or is not awakened to the power that they have within themselves? It literally gets them to hook into that fear, and they bring about their reality.
100%, Corina. It perpetrates
Oh
the
my
cult
God.
of Baal. It cultivates
Absolutely.
Cain eating Abel, cannibal.
Absolutely. 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 Because I don't want to get into this, but if you look throughout the Old Testament, this is all that Yahweh did. It was all that it did was doom, gloom,
Yeah.
destruction. If you love me, I will love you. If you don't, I'm going to kill you, eat
And
your
and
children.
we'll see that Yahweh was perhaps a lesser god of the Anunnaki.
Absolutely. So that is like a subject that I'm very passionate about. So anyway, so this makes a lot of sense that you're talking about Nostradamus. I agree, 100% agree, and that kind of answers my question, because many times I was like, what the heck? Why is he prophesying this doom, gloom, and destruction? It makes no sense. So thank you for answering that for me as well, George.
Well, we're Americans here, and I think what's so beautiful about the American experiment, and it's literally God's gift to this planet, is real self-sovereignty. You go and do your homestead. You worship in your way. No one tells you how to do it. Now, you can bring community around, but let's not make that community become Pharisaic.
Yes. Yeah. And I think this next question kind of you already answered it. And what if prophecies were only warnings to warn us? I let me just jump in, and then George, I'll give it to you. I get that. The only problem is with these prophecies, if it gets the viewer or the listener to engage in that fear, and it makes them paralyzed, and it gives them hopelessness, fear, doom and gloom, that is not no longer something that warns you. That is something that is wanting to make the viewer engage with that particular prediction. So that to me is not the same as warning. So go ahead, George.
Well, yes, I mean, it's the loosh that the negative entities can hold over us. I mean, at the end of the day, Saturn, Satan feeds off our fear. And when we can understand that, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're all going to have fear at some point. If a mass murderer bangs on your door, says, "Can I come in?" You're going to express positive Saturn by saying no. And, there are always going to be times when we're fearful, but it's how we manage that and how we connect to the divine source, to God, to Christ in those moments. And actually, if we practice our connection throughout the day, through joy, through beauty, and also through connection. I don't believe Christ was a prude either. I believe we come to this planet to experience beautiful food and beautiful sensual connection and all the things. It's all about its application at the end of the day.
Yeah, so true. Okay, I know we had some more questions. Karen, did we get all of them? I think Dots. No, we okay. Any other questions? Any other questions, you guys, before we let George? Okay. All right. So George, What are some final things that you would like to leave our audience with regarding the movement of the planets, regarding our job or our mandates, or what we have to do in this time and in this season, as the planets, as we've entered age of Aquarius, as all these planets are moving and aligning? What is your final?
So, with the ingress of Neptune into Aries, literally today, it's very auspicious that we should communicate today on the ingress of Neptune into Aries, which in some ways is another reactivation, Aries energy of the Republic. And instead of Neptune being in Pisces, which it's been since 2012 or something, 2015 maybe, I can't remember exactly, 2012, 2015, where there's been a lot of delusion and feeling of separation and addiction and confusion. The Neptune energy is going to be activated into Aries. It's the mystical in all of us is going to start to come out. We're going to start to be more creative with the Neptune. And Neptune is the imaginative. It's the way we connect to the Godhead. And Aries is going to give us that drive to do it. And for some people, that might be, quite offensive to them because it will be new, but in some ways it's very exciting because it will allow people to step into the driving seat and not be controlled so much by others. The second thing is Saturn will join Neptune in the coming months. That hasn't happened on the 0-degree axis of Aries for 12,000 years.
Wow.
So that's a major civilizational shift on what's called the creative degree of 0 point Aries. When Neptune and Saturn conjoin there, a whole new system, Saturn, is being activated on our planet, and it's going to be based on profound spiritual connection to Source Creator.
Wow. So that's what that really. Okay, that's
and the American birthing of the Second Republic. I mean, I said this back in 2016, 2017. My 2 cents guess is that the United States Constitution this time round will be rolled out as a united worldly document, and will be the basis of lawfulness on our planet very soon.
Wow. And say it again, George. When is this happening? When is Saturn joining?
In literally a few months' time.
Wow. So by summertime, something
Yes.
like that?
Yes.
That's huge. Wow. Well, guys, this was so, George, this was so amazing. Stay on, George, as we get off the live. You guys, thank you so much for joining in. Did you guys enjoy this? We will have you back, George. I would love for you to come back and be with us. It's such an honor to have you. It's like you're remarkable. The information and the knowledge and the truth that you bring and the love that you carry is just absolutely remarkable. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Please put into practice everything you're hearing and everything you're learning. Remember, the fullness of the power of divinity is inside of you. It's not out there, it's in here. Let it flow from within out and change the very arena and reality that you are in. Until next time, sending you guys lots of love, many hugs. Remember who you are and walk the fullness of your identity. Bye-bye.